Hi, it's Jordan Teen 1, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make this cute little ghost Mickey. So there's actually a previous tutorial, and I'll add the link, and that will show you how to make the main body. And then in this video I'm going to show you how to make all of these additional parts to make your little Mickey. To make your Mickey, you're going to need a hook of some sort, and I'll be using the Rainbow Loom metal hook. You're going to need 2 pencils that are approximately 4 inches in length, and I've just used some old pencils. You can see the erasers are missing, and you will need to paint the bottom part black. So you can use a variety of things. I actually used black nail polish, but you can use markers, you can use paint, whatever you have around the house. You're going to need beads or buttons for the eyes. I would highly recommend using similar ones to this just to get that character look. So these are actually buttons, and they're about, I would say, 10 to 12 millimeters in length. You're going to need a piece of cardboard, so I have cut this into an oval, and it measures approximately 2 inches by 1.5 inches. And when you're cutting it, I would recommend doing it on the larger side and then just keep measuring it with the bottom of your ghost, because you want it to fit snugly but not stick out too far, and obviously if it's too small it's going to slip all the way up in and it's not going to work. So I would just recommend going larger than smaller, because you can always keep trimming it down. You're going to need a few clips or stitch markers, and then as far as your band counts go, try to be as accurate as possible, so it should be very close. You're going to need 95 black, 32 white, and 84 yellow. To make the ears, we're going to begin with a magic ring of 6, so I have 7 black rubber bands. And I am going to be using a twist tie just to help me get the magic ring started, but that is optional. So if you do have that twist tie, just put it right next to your hook. You're going to take your first band and you're going to triple this. So it just goes on, twist, back on, twist, and back on. So then just pull your twist tie up, bend it in half, and that's just going to hold those 3 loops together and give you something to grab onto. So if you don't have that, you just want to use your fingers to pinch those 3 loops. And then one at a time, we're just going to pull through, back on, so you have 2 loops, one through the other. And then from front to back, you're going to pull through your second band, back on, so you have the 3 loops, one through the other 2. So we're just going to continue pulling them through. So here's my third, fourth, fifth, and then here's my last one. I'm going to remove my twist tie, and then I'm just going to spread these around, trying to get them evenly spaced around that circle. And then I want to take my clip and put it on the band that's on my hook. In row 2, you'll need 10 bands, and we're doing 2 increases and a single, and then 2 increases and a single. So I'm going to go through my first stitch. It's this little sideways V on the outside edge of your magic ring. From front to back, you're going to go under both loops. We have 1 band, and then back through that same stitch for your increase. In the second stitch, again, we have 2. So there's 1, 2, and then in the next stitch we have a single, and then we're going to repeat that pattern one more time. So the reason that I am following this pattern is because I want the ears to be sort of flat on the outside front and back, but then I want them to be more caved in on the side, so that's where the singles are. That's going to be your sides. So in that last stitch where your clip is, you have just one. And then you're just going to move your clip. In row 3 we have 10 bands again, and this time we're doing just one single crochet into each stitch. So this part's pretty straightforward. We're just going to build the ear. We want it to just come down a little ways. There's only going to be 4 rows total in the ear. So here's my last one. And again, just move your clip. You need 8 bands for row 4, and this is our last row. And we are going to do 2 decreases. So you'll do 3 singles and a decrease, 3 singles and a decrease. So we're starting with our 3 singles. So there's 1, 2, and 3. And then the next 2 stitches are going to go together. So from the inside, like normal, you're going to push through that first stitch. Then you're going to pull back towards yourself, and you're going to again push out through the second stitch. So you should have 4 bands on your hook here. And I'm going to pull through both. Sometimes it's a little bit more tricky to get through that second set. And you want to pull these so they're about evenly spaced, that the band is through about the same amount on both sides, and then do your regular crochet. So then we have 3 more singles. So here's 1, 2, and 3. And then the last 2 stitches are going to go together. So same thing, go through 1, pull back, go through the second, and let me just move this clip so you can see it a little better. And I have the 4 loops plus the one at the base here, and I'm going to pull through both stitches and through. So I'll put the clip back on. And so that's just brought that ear in a little bit to give it that more rounded shape. So once you have one ear done, what you're going to do is make a second one. So I'm not going to film that, but I will add the time to go back to if you feel like you need to follow along with the steps once again. The next thing I want to do is put my anchor bands onto my ears so I can get them ready to attach to the ghost. So I have 3 black bands for each ear, and I'm just going to attach these to this opened end. So you can see where this loose band is, where it's coming up through. I'm going to go in that stitch from the right hand side, under that stitch, pick up this loose band, so I can take that clip off, and then go straight across. I'll take my first anchor band, it's going to pull through everything, get the other end back on, and then one pulls through the other. Pull that relatively tight. I don't want to stretch it out too far, but I want it to stay together. And then I'm just going to that next stitch over, We go through that and straight across. Take my second band, pull through everything, back on, one through the other, and then one more time, come to the stitch that's closest to me, and I'm going to go straight across. Again, pull that relatively tight. And then I'm going to repeat that again. So I'm going through the stitch that this loose band is through, then through the loose band, and straight across. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Next we're going to actually attach the ears to the main body of the ghost, and I have 2 white bands that I'm going to use to tie the loose band of the ears off inside. So you're going to need to determine where you want the ears to be placed. First you'll have to see what you want the front or the back of your ghost to be. So I've determined I want this to be my front. And then what I'm going to do is take the bottom and just bend it up, maybe about halfway up, just so that I have a shorter distance here to be working with. And then you'll find your center point here where you have your magic ring, and you want to go to the left of that. Now there's an opening that's right next to it, which I think is a little bit close. So I'm actually going to go to this next opening here. So I will come up through, I'll take my first ear, take that first anchor band, and here's where I'm going to do something a little different. I'm not just going to pull the anchor band down through, because with just one band it's going to be too loose. So I need to go back through where I made that slip knot and actually get both of sides of that loop on. And then I'm going to pull that to the back. Make sure you have 2 loops. And then I'm going to see my next opening here to the left. I'm going to push up through that, grab that second anchor band, and again I want to get that other side of that loop to get back on. Pull through to the back. So now I have 4 loops, and the 2 end ones are going to pull through the other 2. And then I'll work my way to the next opening over, push up through, and again get both ends of that anchor band on, pull through to the back, and 2 go through the other 2. Now before I tie this off, I just want to see if I think that looks like a good spacing. And I do think it looks good. So now what I'm going to do is just go through 1 additional band on the back here, and take my last white here. I'm going to pull through everything and make a nice and tight slip knot, really tight, because we don't want that to come apart. So now I have my first ear attached, and I need to do my second one, so I want to try and space this around the same spot. So here's my center point. I'm not going to the one that's right next to it, I'm going to the one next to that, the opening. And again, I'm going to go through the loop and then also through the other end of that. Pull through to the back. And then I want to go to that next opening, push up through, see if I think that looks like it's in line. And I'll get my 2 ends of that anchor band, pull through, get those 2 to go through the other 2, And then I'm going over one more spot. And again, both loops of that anchor band. Might be a little tough to get through that second side. Pull through. And again, let me just check the spacing. And I do think it looks like it's pulling to the back a little bit, so I'm going to change that. So I have to backtrack here a little bit. Just undo that. Get these 2 loops back on my hook. Get this to come back out. And I'm actually going to go through this one that's closer to the front. So let's see. Yes, I think that definitely looks better. And now I just need to tie this off. Again, make sure your slip knot is super, super tight. Now I can undo this, and my ears are attached. The next thing that I'm going to do is to add my buttons. So you may be using beads or buttons or bands, and these are about 10 to 12 millimeters, I would say. And I did already string the rubber band through. I used a needle and thread, but you might also use a metal part from the twisty tie, and I do have videos that show you how to do each if you're not quite sure how to do that. And then I have 3 white rubber bands that I'm going to use to tie these other bands to hold them in place in the back. So you need to determine where you want your eyes to be placed, and with Mickey and Minnie's eyes, they are very close together, so probably somewhere right around here I want them to be. So let me just stick my hook through. Now the way that my band runs through is actually vertical. Yours may be different depending on what you have. So let's see, this is where I want to come up through, and I'm going to pull down one side, and then I'm going to come up through the top here, grab the other side, pull it through to the back. So I have my 2 loops on here. I'm going to pull one through the other, and then I'm going to go through a space on the back. Let me just fold this open like I did for the other part for the ear. And I'm going to go a little bit farther away just to make it tighter. I'm not going to pick a band that's right next to it, just to give it a little bit more tension. And I'm going to pull through both. And I'm going to do that nice and tight slip knot. So let me see here. And then the other eye I'm going to want to be right next to it. So let me just come up through here. Again, pull through to the back. And then go up a little bit higher. Pull that through. And pull one through the other. And then again, I'm going to go a little bit farther away here. Again, nice and tight. So then here's my eyes. And you do have a little bit of wiggle room for adjustment if you want to sort of stretch them apart or push them closer together. And then for my nose, Obviously I want it to go this way. So I'll come up through and then come across. And then again, just going to anchor this on nice and tight. Next I'm going to add the mouth, and for that you're going to need about 8 black bands. It really depends on how big you want your mouth to be. And then I have 1 white band that I'm going to use to tie it off inside. So you'll need to determine where you want your mouth to go. So I think I'm going to start right around here. So I'm going to just come up through this opening, and I'll take a band and pull it through to the back. And then I'm going to come diagonally down and to the right to that next opening and grab the other end and pull that to the back. So then 1 band pulls through the other, and then I'm going to come out through that same opening that I just went down through. And again, I'm going to pull through to the back, and I want to come again diagonally down to the right, and I'll pull that through to the back. I have 3 loops, 1 through the other 2. And you can look as you're doing it whether you think it looks like it's going the way you want it to. So now I'm going to come up through, and this time I'm going to go straight across. Again, 1 through the other 2, back up through that same opening, and now I'm going to work my way back up. So I'm pulling through to the back, but the next one, let's see, I want to come diagonally up and to the right. Pull that through. And it looks like I lost one here. That occasionally happens. I'm just going to get them right back on my hook and pull through. And then I need to go up 1 more. So up and to the right. And get it to go through both. And now what I need to do is just to finish this. If you wanted, you could just leave a smile just like that. But I'm going to come straight across here. So I'm actually going to come down to this stitch 1 down. And I'm going to come up through that one. Whoops, I got my white one on there. And I'm going to come straight across. And then once more. And let me just see if I like that. I think it's cute. So I just need to tie this off. So let me go through a loop on the back. And again, make my nice and tight slip knot. Now it just so happens that I have 2 loose loops, or they're not really loose, but my 2 tie-off bands. So just as an added measure, since they're right here, right next to each other, I think what I'm going to do is to just do a double knot, just for some added security. And so now the little mouth is done. Next we're going to do the arms and hands. So for each one you're going to need 12 white and 6 black. So you're going to start with a white. We're going to quadruple this. So just twist and put it back on until you have 4 loops. The next band will get doubled. So just twist and back on once. And then you need to get this quadrupled band to slide onto the doubled band. It can be a little bit tricky. Get the other side back on. And that's going to be the thumb. You're going to leave that at the base of your hook. Now we're going to do the first finger. So quadruple. Slide that onto a doubled band. And then we're going to do that one more time, another doubled band, since we want the fingers to be just a little bit longer. And this time you can grab the little nub here, the quadrupled band, and that helps you a little bit more to slide that on and back on. So that's our thumb and finger. We have to make 2 more fingers. So quadruple, and then slide onto a doubled. Just kind of even that out. And we have to put it on another doubled. Again, you can grab onto this little quadrupled band. Helps out a little bit. And then we have to do 1 more finger. So quadruple. Double. Your hook is definitely going to get very full. Slide that onto a double. Even it all out. And now you should have 1 white left. We're going to double this. So just make sure you're pinching this, don't let go. And I'm going to slide all of these on. So if you pull up on this as you're taking it off, it's going to help it from getting hung up. At least we're going to try and get it not hung up. So that's all of them. It's very tight. Just don't let go. And then get the other end back on your hook, both loops. And then you can try and slide these over a little bit more and even them out. And now you should have 6 black bands left. We're just going to double each of those and then keep sliding this on. So here's 1. And again, just try and get it evenly spaced. It's always going to try and be on one side more than the other. There's 2. You can see I didn't have both loops there. Then here's 3. That's 4. Five, and then 1 more to double that. And that makes 6. So you want to just take this off very carefully. If you wanted to, you could put a clip on the end so it doesn't come apart. but it's pinched in there pretty tightly. It should be okay. Set that to the side, and then you're going to go back and make one more. So once again, I will add the time if you need to follow along with that. Once you have your 2 arms done, we need to attach them. So again, I have one white band for each arm, and you just need to see where you want them to be positioned. So maybe like right about here. So I'm just going to go through, opening on the side here, and I'm going to take 2 of the loops, get them pulled through to the back, and then I'm going to come down to that space right below, push out, and then I need to get the other 2 loops and pull them through. Taking my white band through all 4 loops, and then just slip knot that nice and tight. So there's one arm, and then we have to do the other arm. So we want to get it pretty symmetrical here. So maybe right about here. So I'm going to come up through and grab the 2 loops for the one side. And then I'm going to come up through to the next spot and get those other 2 loops on. Pull through to the back. And then I'm just going to go through all 4 loops and make my slip knot. The foot is going to begin with a magic ring of 5, so I have 6 bands. Again, I'm going to use this twist tie just to help me get it started. So you're tripling that first band, just twist and put it back on 2 different times, so you have 3 loops. And then you're just pulling through one at a time. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So again, just add your clip and then do your best to even these out. In row 2, you need 8 bands. We're doing 3 increases and then 2 singles. So you're just heading over to your first stitch, and we're doing that increase in the first 3 stitches. So that's my first increase, my second increase, and then my third, and then we have the 2 singles. In row 3, you'll need 12 bands, and we're going to do 2 singles, 4 increases, and then end on 2 singles. So here's my first single, and where your singles are, and here's my second, that's where the back of the foot's going to be, and then where the increases are, this is the front of the foot. So here's my first one. Here's my second increase. And then here's a third. And then one more. So this is actually coming around the side of the foot now. And then those last two stitches are singles, and we're working our way along the back of the foot. We'll need 15 bands for row 4, and this is going to be our last row. You're doing 5 singles, 3 increases, and then 4 singles. So again, here we're towards the back of the foot. So we're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now we're towards the front here. So we're going to do 3 increases. So there's my first one. My second. And then my third. And then I'm coming back around the side here with 4 singles. So that completes our first foot, and we do have this loose band that we need to account for. So what I'm going to do is just to go around here to this next stitch, and I'm going to just go under the inside loop here. I'm going to take one additional band, I'm going to pull it through both of the loops on my hook, get the other end back on, and make a nice and tight slip knot. So then I just need to hide this loose loop. So I'm just going to flip this inside out for a moment just to get a better view here. And I'm just going to go under some of these loops that are on the inside. And you'll probably have to go through several. And I'll pull this loop all the way through here. Just go through a couple more. And then I'll flip this back out. And then here's our first little foot. So again, you're going to want to make a second foot, and I'm not going to film this, but I will add the time, so then you can follow along with the instructions again if you feel like you need to. Next, you want to take your 2 pencils, and you're going to take one of your Mickey feet, and you see where this center magic ring is. You're going to take your pencil. I'm going to use the eraser end, and it's going to be a little tight. I'm going to push that down through, and I want to get it even so that the eraser part of the pencil is going to be flat with the end of the foot, so that it basically will stand up. And then I'll do the same thing with the other one. So as I said, it's definitely going to be a little bit tight. So there's my 2 feet. And then I'm going to take my piece of cardboard, and I've used a hole punch to punch 2 holes in here. And then I'm going to stick this up through. I'm going to use the black side on the outside, but you're really not going to see it. It's going to be underneath of your ghost. And then I'm going to take my Mickey here. And if you wanted to, you could add stuffing inside if you want this to be solid, but it is definitely not necessary. You're just going to put this up inside and get it pretty evenly spaced here so that it's nice and snug. And then he'll stand up. Or here he is laid down. And your little Mickey figure is complete. I hope that everyone loves their new Mickey ghosts. You can always leave me comments on YouTube and Facebook, post pictures of your creations to my Facebook page, and please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can be notified when I have new tutorials available. You can also find me on Pinterest and Instagram, so please feel free to subscribe to those as well, and post pictures and comments there too. Thanks for watching!